Columbus. I'm talking about Northern Alberta in the dead of winter. And the Edmonton Oilers needing to get off the schneid, a 6-game losing streak. And they'll be matched up with the Columbus Bluejackets and that man, Elvis Merzlikins, who gets the call. The Columbus Pipes tonight hasn't been great on the road. 2-5, played to a save percentage of 87. He'll be opposed by the rookie Stuart Skinner, who suffered his first home loss in the NHL last week when he fell to the Boston Bruins and Jake DeBrusk, giving up 3 goals on 30 shots. Ready for redemption tonight. Your starting goaltenders brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the National Hockey League. The Oilers and the Columbus Bluejackets. This was Edmonton's last win before the 2019-20 pause. So now the Oilers, nearly 2 years later, get a look at the Jackets. Usually good tonic for Edmonton. They've beaten them 4 straight times. Driven in immediately off the draw by Cody Ceci. Starting on defense with Duncan Keith. The opening line centered by Leon Draisaitl, flanked by Yamamoto and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And as Columbus dumps it in, we can tell your starting lineup brought to you by Scotiabank, believing there's a place for all Canadians in Canada's game. Texier factored in all 3 Columbus goals the other night, but the Blue Jackets wasted a 3-0 lead and were upended by Vancouver 4-3. That was the same night where Edmonton was beaten by Toronto 5-1. Draisaitl through the neutral zone, a little behind Nugent-Hopkins, and cleared by Bjorkstrand. 2-on-1 for the Jackets. Texier cuts in, dishes, and a quick shot right into the pads of Stuart Skinner, who held sway, didn't allow himself to lose the net. And a clear by the Oilers back through center. Werenski gains the line and whistles one off the pads of Skinner. Edmonton, in each of this 6-game losing streak, has surrendered the first goal. 15 of 18 overall. And we've got a penalty coming up.
I think it's too many men. Potentially, but here's the rush, and it's Duncan Keith that kind of blows a wheel coming into the zone right there. He would have been able to backtrack, but it's a 2-on-1. Nugent-Hopkins continues to push. And watch Werenski up on the play. He doesn't realize, I don't think, how much of an open net that he has as Skinner was over playing that 2-on-1. Just a mishap that happened, but that's what happens early, and a great save by Skinner to be in that spot. But for Edmonton, they get caught with too many men early on here, trying to jump over the boards quickly and make a play. You can count the numbers, and they're called for that. And the Columbus Blue Jackets will have the first power play tonight.
Glenn Gulletson running the bench with Jimmy Playfair tonight. I think Skinner thought the penalty was on Columbus. He skated over.
He was coming up to get off the ice, and good thing for him that he recognized and touched up immediately. Connor McDavid was down into the zone to touch the puck.
Otherwise, that would have been problematic. No goaltender. Ryan chased out of the circle. Colton Sevier digs in. No Devon Shore for Edmonton tonight. He's entered COVID protocol along with Ryan McLeod and the aforementioned Tippett, and a shot by Bjorkstrand deflected over the crossbar. Jackets' power play has been cold lately, part of their recent struggles. Both these teams got off to great starts. Columbus just 2 wins in its last 9, and the power play hasn't helped. 1 for 12 over that stretch, and an errant pass fed by Merzlikins over to Werenski. Ryan will skate off. Replaced by Yamamoto out there with Nugent-Hopkins, Keith and Ceci on the penalty kill, and the play made at the blue line and muscled out by Yamamoto. Nugent-Hopkins coughed it up, and Bjorkstrand walks in with Jake Voracek. 2 leading scorers for the Blue Jackets. Whipped around the boards hard by Keith, and that's out. It's his 2nd game back.
Yeah, and he looked real good in the first game back after missing some games due to injury. And for Duncan Keith, that was a good little play there to be in that spot and pound that one down the ice. Don't make a mistake out of the zone.
Chinakhov is able to whack it behind the Edmonton net, corralled by Darnell Nurse. Chinakhov, Columbus's first-round pick at 20. Turnover by the Oilers, losing his stick. Ryan, puck chopped wide. Chinakhov, who's been a healthy scratch the last 5 games, out to Jake Bean. Now a one-timer taken by Roslovic, but that was elevated up and out of play by Sevier.
This period brought to you by James H. Brown & Associates, Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers. Accidents happen. JamesHBrown.com.
The Oilers not making life easy for itself early, Lou.
Yeah, this one here could have been a mishap. And watch the quick activation again. It was actually Bouchard that gets up. And instead of standing and waiting, he gets right up in the play with the stick on that puck.
Being a shot that's controlled by Skinner, he'll freeze it.
And, that's one of the things for the penalty kill. And, you look at this last 6 games for Edmonton, they've lost. And especially the 5 games at home, the penalty kill's kind of been under siege a little bit, letting some goals go by for Evan Bouchard, a young player. Glenn Gulletson said, listen, it's the details right now for us. We understand where we are, what we have to do. You have to execute. That was just a good defensive heads-up play. What could have been a high-quality shot against.
7 goals against on the penalty kill on this homestand. And as a result, the kill is dropped from 2nd to 9th. Draisaitl with a steal, though, and he'll lug it up the right-hand side. Put the brakes on. Nugent Hopkins hovering close by. Whistles a cross-ice feed. Nurse a shot, and that might have clipped the goalpost. Rebound came back to Nurse. They'll shovel it back behind the Columbus net, and that will do it for the Blue Jacket power play, which is now 1 for its last 13. Just the 1 shot, and that was a routine one that Skinner was able to swallow up. McDavid, Fogle, and Puljujarvi coming off the Columbus power play. And Puljujarvi makes a play out the blue line to keep the Jackets hemmed in. Gavrikov up the left-hand side. Columbus, the youngest team in the NHL, so it'll be curious to see how they shake off the disappointment of blowing that 3-goal lead on Tuesday night in Vancouver. Puljujarvi toppled to the ice surface. Dustin Danforth is able to backhand it out towards center. And Bouchard will wheel it rink wide over to Darnell Nurse. Columbus, like Toronto, was supposed to play Calgary on the tail end of this trip, and that game obviously won't be happening with what's going on with the Flames. Derek Robinson coming off his 2nd career 2-goal game in the loss to the Canucks. Here's the captain, Boone Jenner. Back to Robinson. His brother Buddy is also an NHLer. See him on Monday. Nurse will wire it in from center. Merzlikins lost sight of it for a moment, then recovered to Gavrikov. He'll hoist back to center, batted down, and that's a hand pass in the neutral zone.
Nice solid hit there by Zach Kassian on Gavrikov, too, to finish his check. And good defensive zone coverage here by Edmonton. This is the chance late on the penalty kill for Edmonton. Great patience by Draisaitl. A zinger of a pass over to Darnell Nurse, who comes off the bench and walks right in. And I believe you're right. This one catches a little bit of iron, it was the stick, the butt end of the stick. Merzlikins and then Kassian with a heavy, hard hit on Gavrikov, and that's the kind of game Kassian has to play. Inject some energy, inject some compete into the game, and especially for a defense that's fairly young. Jack, continue to get on them, continue to make sure you're aggressively forecheck and look for those early turnovers.
Quick shot taken in the slot, deflected away. Skinner looking behind the veteran Gus Nyquist. One of the few veterans on this roster. Columbus figureheads like Nick Foligno, David Savard, Seth Jones, Cam Atkinson, they're all gone. This is a new group.
Big turnover. That's something Brad Larson talked a little bit about this morning with you and I, Jack. In his first year as the head coach of the Blue Jackets, has been with the team for 8 years now. And he said, listen, it's almost like a completely new team. It's a young team, and they're encourageable, and he understands they're working hard, but they're learning on the fly. And he's hoping that, as you mentioned, that 3-goal lead they had, they let waste away against the Vancouver Canucks is a lesson. They were greatly outplayed in the 2nd and 3rd period. Felt they sat back a little too much, wants them on their toes, pushing the game a little bit more.
Yamamoto, dump and chase. Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl alongside. Early on, Columbus winning games with this kind of attack. Maybe a 3-on-1. Max Domi loading up, ditching one-timer, a stop made by Stuart Skinner with Werenski busting down the slot, creating another lane. The stop was on Roslovic, but Stuart Skinner now with a couple of fine saves off the ruck early.
That was a 3-on-1, and that's just something you can't give up early in a game, and something that's plagued Edmonton a little bit as of late. Outnumbered rushes as Voracek's helmet goes popping off.
Shot kicked out to Tyler Benson. We get behind, right to center. And that was deflected just
wide. He can't stay on the ice. He's got to get off.
Nurse over to Evan Bouchard. And because Voracek stayed out there, our hunch is this penalty. Now, it's interesting. When the whistle came, they'll discuss. We'll figure it out and tell you what happened when we come back. you sort it out.
Yeah, a lot of confusion down there, but they got it figured out, and 2 Columbus Blue Jackets are going to be in the box. Boom, here's the collision, Yamamoto, Voracek. Voracek's helmet comes off, and he doesn't go right off to the bench. Gets back into the play actively, and then there's the trip on Domi. Right there is Yamamoto was taken down, the little chop into the skates by Domi. So 2 penalties on the same sequence, and a lengthy 5-on-3 for Edmonton. Being outshot 5-2, this is an opportunity you just don't see too often early in the game. They need to make it count.
Especially when you haven't gotten that first goal. The Oilers are 9-0 when they score first, but the 9 times are the fewest in the league, and McDavid rings one off the post with a backhander off the draw, won by Leon Draisaitl. And that's the way it's gone for Edmonton lately. The good news is the 2-man advantage in effect for another minute and 45. McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, Barrie with the puck, Puljujarvi net front presence, Draisaitl round out the 5-6. It's McDavid getting it back, peering inside, dishing off, Nugent-Hopkins loading. McDavid in front, blocked, and then it slipped through Puljujarvi on the second effort. Barrie from Draisaitl. McDavid. Shadowed by Sean Corrali. Poised with the puck, centers. One-timer Nugent-Hopkins, and that stays out. And winds up out of play. Gavrikov and Jenner in close trying to protect that net. The Oilers ready for another faceoff.
Couple of great chances. Right off the faceoff, McDavid goes to the backhand. Hesmer's leaking speed. Just kind of flips it glove high right over the glove into the bar, and then Puljujarvi in tight. This is a set play as McDavid's looking for him the first time, doesn't go through the second time. Just a little bit too hot.
Nugent-Hopkins back to Barrie. This power play has cooled off lately. 3 for its last 25. Nugent-Hopkins wires it out. Barrie gets it back from McDavid. Draisaitl. Barrie calls for it. One-timer wide. Rebound. Puljujarvi scores. And Edmonton takes the lead for the first time since December the 1st. Puljujarvi's got 9, and it's 1-0 Oilers.
Absolutely must for Edmonton, and you could tell they were fighting it a bit, but they stayed with it, and this is just a good shot from Barrie. Have to have a shooting mentality for the Blue Jackets. They're taking away that cross-seam pass. A 2-1 formation where the 2 guys up high are looking for those cross-seam passes, not allowing one-timers, so it has to come from the point. That's exactly what happens for Barrie. He gets it there, and a hard carom off the boards, but watch Puljujarvi. He's the screen in front, and he just taps that one on the backhand side, and Voracek not too happy after that one. Knows that he could have gone right off the ice. It's just natural to want to get back into the play. That's what he does, and that's why it was a 5-on-3, and still 55 seconds left on the second penalty.
And Columbus now, Louis, just 3 for its last 8 on the penalty kill, so they're leaking. Again, the numbers are eerily similar between these two clubs to some degree. Nurse now operating a 5-on-4. Gets the back pass off to McDavid. And now Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will toss back to Nurse. Draisaitl slides down, kicks it out. Nurse. Open man. Nugent-Hopkins missed the net. Rebound, Puljujarvi. Came off to McDavid. Draisaitl and Barrie, the helpers on the first power play goal. There's a shot, Nugent-Hopkins. That was blockered aside. Nugent-Hopkins didn't get what he wanted on that shot. Whistled across ice, McDavid. Back to Nugent-Hopkins in front. Tap dome. Puljujarvi's got a pair of power play goals. And Edmonton up by a deuce.
Talk about what the doctor ordered for the Edmonton Oilers. 6 goals in their last 5 games. And they have 2 in succession here, 1 on the 5-on-3, 1 on this power play. Talk about snapping a puck around. That pass right there by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins set it all in motion. You find that first seam pass through the formation. Just a great job right there by McDavid. A little funnel back to him and then a tap over to Puljujarvi, who planted himself in front for the entire power play. On the 5-on-3, gets the 1 carom off the boards. That one there, a tap in the blue paint. 2-0 Edmonton.
2 goals in 46 seconds for Jesse Puljujarvi. And Edmonton had managed just 2 goals in its last 2 games. Here's Cassian streaking in left-hand side. And especially after giving up a 2-on-1 and a 3-on-1 early, this is vital for Edmonton. And Columbus has to be thinking about missed opportunities. Roslovic Off to Jake Voracek down the seam.
Especially the Werenski one right early there. He had a lot of time. I don't think he realized how much time he had. Skinner had bent to come across hard and just got his pad on that one. It was a great save, but there was a lot of net open.
Kicked off the glass by Domi. Knocked down inside the line by Darnell Nurse, and Zach Werenski will pick it up. Talked about Edmonton's domination of Columbus in this series. Last 4 matchups decided by the combined score of 16-3. A giveaway by Skinner, hacked wide by Jenner. Rebound to Andrew Peak, and now Bjorkstrand. Peak, wrist shot, didn't get it through. That was blocked by Kyle Turris, and he is ailing as he hobbles to the Edmonton bench. That one bit him. Bouchard able to knock it down. By the way, with Shore in COVID protocol, Brendan Perlini, who was just called up, is in the lineup for Edmonton. Playing on the third line. Yamamoto walks in. Bustling up, Texier on Puljujarvi. Steve, you're in the vicinity. And now Bjorkstrand will kick it back. So halfway through this first period, the Oilers shake off a few early on-man rushes and get a pair on the power play. Puljujarvi from Barrie and Draisaitl, and then Puljujarvi from Nugent Hopkins and McDavid. Here's Eric Robinson, a backhander, steered aside by Skinner. Robinson again to the interior. Danforth couldn't get there. Gavrikov keeps the zone. Robinson deflected away from Danforth. Well played and sent out to McDavid. Moves in right around Bayreuther. Centering pass went off a skate. He was looking for the natty hattie for Jesse Puljujarvi is what McDavid was doing. Was he ever? William Lagesson defends as Danforth comes up ice. That's the other change for Edmonton. In the line and takes a seat in the press box tonight, replaced by Lagesson. And now the puck inadvertently flicked over the glass by Sean Corrales. Halfway through the first, Jesse Puljujarvi celebrating an early pair. Of 2 by that man, Jesse Puljujarvi. Save on Foods is giving away their first prize. Louis, break down the pair.
Yeah, a couple of goals, 46 seconds apart. One on the 5-on-3, one on the 5-on-4, and a 2-minute 5-on-3 power play for the Edmonton Oilers, and they go to work, and certainly needed. And what's happened the last little while for Edmonton, the first one, the hard blast from Barrie, Karam's off the back wall. Jesse Puljujarvi, great screen in front, jumps on that and pounces home. This is a beautiful passing play. 2 good passes by Nugent Hopkins. The first one to set it in motion, he gets it back from McDavid and gives Puljujarvi a tap in, both from real similar areas on the ice in tight. 2-0 Edmonton.
He's all biced up, and the Oilers have a 2-0 lead. Now a message from Sports Interaction.
Providing competitive odds on all sports. Sports Interaction is Canada's sports book.
Banged up linesman. I believe that's Vaughn Rohde.
It is Vaughn Rohde. Right off the faceoff, that puck comes up in a hurry, and he just can't get out of the way. He turns his head and catches it in the back of the neck a little bit. He's looking like he's going to be fine and shake that one off.
Do they call that area the nape? Is that the nape of your neck? The back of your neck? I feel like my mom used that term. Have you seen befuddled?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that too.
Here's Perlini, a shot and a save. Rebound, tucked home, and that's Derek Ryan's first goal since game 2. Edmonton 3, Columbus 0.
Well, it just goes to show you score a couple goals, you start to feel good, and this happens. It's a shot rebound, and Brendan Perlini goes down, scores a couple goals in Bakersfield. The American Hockey League, I had a little chat with him this morning. He said this is how it goes sometimes. A little confidence, a shooting mentality. He had 5 shots in the last game he played, a 2-1 loss. But you know what? He gets it to the net. Hard shot isn't handled by Merzlikins, and for Derek Ryan, funnel yourself to an area, and he just jams in a rebound. It's been a long time coming, 22 games without a point for Derek Ryan, but that one's got to feel pretty good, and a 3-0 lead for Edmonton.
And that's Brendan Perlini's first point as an Oiler in his 14th game in an Edmonton sweater. Fired in by Ceci, and the Oilers get supplemental scoring, and now gifted with a 3-0 lead against the wobbly Merzlikins.
Oilers goal, his second of the season.
And mentioned that 2-6-1 stretch, Louis. Columbus had surrendered 37 goals over those 9 games. And with Edmonton struggling to score, something had to give. Jackets are offside here. Nugent Hopkins finds Ceci. Yamamoto stymied by Gavrikov, and we'll have an offside whistled against Edmonton.
Well, you know, Jack, it's kind of just how things have been going for Edmonton. You heard Glenn Gulletson address the media yesterday, Jim Playfair after the loss a couple nights ago to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And listen, everybody understands the situation you're in, but the confidence is lacking. You start to grip the stick a little bit, and you just have to go out there and do the things continuously that you're going to make you successful. And just a walk off the wall by Perlini, that's a great job by him to get himself to a place where he can shoot that puck. Derek Ryan knows it's coming. He gets to that spot in front of the net, so maybe a little bit of a screen in front of Merzlikins. He doesn't handle it, and he jams it home. I'll tell you, it's an easy, simple game sometimes when you're doing those types of things, but when they're not going your way, boy, does it ever feel like it's impossible.
Vogel sets the screen for McDavid. Here's a shot by Bouchard off the pads of Merzlikins. He's probably another goal away from being yanked out of this game, which is interesting. Here's McDavid, jitterbugging, dishing off, faking Bouchard, and now Darnell Nurse wired it across. McDavid fields it. He's had some big games against Columbus, averages about 2 per game against the Jackets for his career, and now a save by Merzlikins. That one appeared to climb out of play.
Yeah, nice presence by Foegele in front, a real good battle with Karlsson, and that's something they're going to have to continue to do, stay in the eyes of Merzlikins. And you talked about it, Jack, the road record that he's had. He's really had a hard time. His home record is outstanding, 9-1-1 this season, so it's just Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when you look at the differences between the two records. And sometimes that's just how it is. Can't chase that matchup when you're on the road. It's a young team, and you get up against real highly skilled teams that can expose you a little bit in those situations. But no question, it's a drastic different home record and road record for Merzlikins this year.
That was waved off for icing. Barry will track it down. Columbus has dropped 6 of 7 on the road. As you mentioned, Louis, young team. They're 9-3-1 in the friendly confines in Ohio State Capitol, but can't get it going on the road, 5-9. Merzlikins handles a dump in, throws it up the boards. His third NHL game came against Edmonton, and it was in relief of Korpisalo, his backup tonight. Came in, actually stopped all 19 he faced. Problem was his club was down 4-0 when he entered.
Similar to this game, they got off to a great start.
There's a shot by Turris, and that whistled wide. Rebound to Barry, takes a chop from Nyquist. Turris watches as the centering pass from Benson was broken up, and now he'll defend. Swept in by Chinakhov, and Columbus will change. Reloading William Lagesson. This is 6th NHL appearance this season. Ceci up the gut. Deflected. Merzlikins hesitated. And now after it on the forecheck is Ryan. Duncan Keith, the shot. That drifts wide. Rebound after it, Max Domi. He's able to clear. And now Voracek has a step on Keith. Barreling to the net. Ditches off. And what a play made by Zach Kassian on the backtrack to deny Roslovic a good look. Ryan to CC the other way for Edmonton. Jimmy Playfair and Glenn Gulletson rolling over the lines and fired on net. Caught cleanly by Merzlikins off the tape of Brendan Perlini. We've got a 3-0 lead at Rogers Place for the Edmonton Oilers. Derek Ryan, long time coming. Major part of the game brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Parts that make the difference. That's Napa know-how.
Well, the Edmonton Oilers, when they score first, they win games, Jack. And you look at this year, a 9-0 record coming into this one when they score the first goal. And they're a great front-running team. It hasn't happened a whole lot as of lately. 15 to the last 18, they've been chasing the game. It's a different environment, but tonight up 3-0. You can already see the rotation of the lines going out for Glenn Gulletson and Jim Playfair. And it's a different attitude when you're trying to protect the lead than when you're chasing the game and maybe taking chances you wouldn't normally take.
Puljujarvi gets 2 goals in 16 games coming in. He gets 2 in 46 seconds. Both on the power play, and that's his 4th career 2-goal game. Nugent Hopkins puts the brakes on. Looks inside for Yamamoto. Draisaitl trying to get his way around Corrali, but he was negated by the one-time Boston Bruin, and it's floated the other way by Justin Danforth. Bluejackets had a couple of players surprisingly win jobs in camp, and Danforth was one of them. Knock it around, played over in Finland, KHL after being the ECHL Player of the Year 3 seasons back. Draisaitl up to center.
Scored goals in both leagues too, Jack, and you and I were looking him up before the game saying this guy, you go into the Finnish Elite League and score 23 goals, 27 goals in the KHL, you're going to get noticed, and was top 7 in points in both of those leagues. Outstanding.
Bjorkstrand threw it behind for Texier. And now Bean will send it tipped off the glass, a cross-check on Jenner, and that's going to be called. Texier finds Bean, a shot tipped on net, saves Skinner, rebound, and Texier had it blocked, and now Columbus will go on the power play.
Warm up this holiday season with Pizza 73. Hot and fresh pizzas, drinks, and limited time 2-bite maple tarts. Happy holidays from Pizza 73.
Cross-checking the call to Duncan Keith right here as he catches Boone Jenner in a awkward position. Just gives him that cross-check in the back. I mean, no kind of guessing on that one. He was pretty aggressive with that. Always has played a hard game in front. Boone Jenner is not an easy guy to knock off his feet as well. So the first power play for the Blue Jackets in this game.
Captain for the Jackets, got off to a hot start this year, sitting on 11 goals right now. Werenski off the draw. Sevier, Ryan, Nurse, and Bouchard, the penalty killers for Edmonton. He's built a 3-0 lead here. Shot coming, Chinakhov off the pads of Skinner. Rebound, fought for. Bouchard was hooked, and did they catch it?
Yep.
And it's Jenner.
Little can opener, and sorry, that's the second power play for Columbus. I forgot about the too many men right out of the gates. That was killed off by Edmonton, but here's Bouchard about to pounce on a puck, and the little can opener by Jenner from the front of the net just disrupts that motion forward. So Boone Jenner draws a call, takes a call, and we've got some 4-on-4 action here for 1:44.
And that means McDavid, Draisaitl, Nurse, and Bouchard. Darnell Nurse. Cole Sillinger, youngest player in the NHL, taking this face-off for the Jackets, 18 years of age. He's the only guy for the 21 draft currently in the league.
Yeah, you heard Sam Cosentino talking about him and just how he's impressed stepping in here with the Blue Jackets in his first year. He doesn't turn 19 until May. I mean, he's a young kid, but he doesn't look like it on the ice. Obviously, his dad was a pretty darn good player too, Mike.
Director of Player Development for the Oilers for 5 years. Lead pass. Here's Connor McDavid. Cross ice, and that went off the heel of Nurse's stick. Mike Sillinger, of course, played memorably for a dozen teams. And while he, of course, absorbed his share of suitcase jokes, it also means 12 teams wanted you.
Absolutely. Also a member of the Blue Jackets, and that's where Cole was born.
Jack Roslovic, also a local product from a Columbus standpoint.
And Sean Corrali grew up in Columbus.
Yep. Beirut are up the right-hand side, and there's an offside. Gene Principe.
Well, Jack and Louie, you're talking about Cole Sillinger. You talked about Sam Cosentino discussing he's the youngest player in the NHL. Not long ago, there you see Tyson Barrie and Nathan McKinnon. Now he's going up against them. You talked about Dad Mike Sillinger in those 12 teams, 155 games with the Blue Jackets after being drafted in the first round by Detroit. I would say when it comes to the Sillingers, those would be the Cole's notes.
There you go. Big kid, too.
That's Cole with a C, Gene, and minus an H. Here's a lead pass. See, in the United States, it's Cliff Notes. You probably didn't even know that, didn't you?
I knew that.
Oh, you knew that?
Sure.
I didn't know it was Cole's in Canada until I moved here. You're more wizened than I am. Max Domi spun down by Fogle, and he's shaken up. Nugent Hopkins charges in. Reach shot, save made by Merzlikins. Domi, though stunned, is able to regain composure and drift his way. Second shot effort, got it through 1-on-4, and that was towed aside by Skinner. 4-on-4 in effect for another couple seconds. Now Keith will come out of the box, and this is a very abbreviated power play of about 15 seconds.
Max Domi still staring down the official. Thought there should have been a power play there on Warren Fogle, and he has not sat down. He was a little stunned, got up, and had a little extra bite to the 2 shot attempts. The second one did get away that Stuart Skinner had to fight off.
Nurse to Bouchard. Draisaitl hits the line. Cross ice. Nurse in. Rig shot. Caught off by Merzlikins. Nurse has had some good looks here in this first period. Out to Bouchard. Shot. Got through. Kicked out. Jenner. And finally, Texier able to hack it out there. Bjorkstrand on the move. Wrist shot. That blistered off the blocker of Skinner. Recovered by Werenski. Minute 45 left in the period. Oilers up 3. Bouchard twists to Puljujärvi. And now a 2-on-1. McDavid and Draisaitl back. Carlson, and he makes a great play on the cross ice feed from McDavid. How about Gabriel Carlson denying the 2-on-1 with arguably the league's 2 best players. Bjorkstrand breaks away and lofts one down the middle of the ice. Texier won't get there, but he does bottle up Duncan Keith. And now we'll try to create. Carlson moves in to set a screen on Puljujärvi. Texier spin, shot tipped just wide by Sillinger. Minute to go in the period as the Oilers will clear. Ryan floats one inside the blue line. Carlson under duress from Perlini, who keeps it down low for Derek Ryan. Cassian backhands one down low. Perlini waits and fires one off the post. That had heat on it. That looked like a guy who led the NHL in preseason scoring. That was whistled on that.
And just shooting the puck, having a mentality of making sure you're getting the puck to the net, kind of stopped, looks up, nowhere to go, put it to the net with the body in front.
Sillinger, wide open, shot just wide, though. Missing the net, Chinakhov. And the Jackets have to haul it in back in their own zone. Aggressive forecheck by Benson. Tried to create space for Sevier, but taken away by Corrales. Nurse won the battle against Eric Robinson, and now Benson will drain the remaining time with a feed to Nurse. Up the middle, tapped in by Sevier, and that's all for the first period. The Oilers 3 goals on 14 shots, and they'll take a commanding lead into the dressing room.
Yeah, Warren Foegele again, that little collision here with Max Domi. You'll see him come in here and kind of just step in as Domi tries to jump over. I don't necessarily think there was a penalty. I think he was stopping, but he didn't like it very much and had a conversation. Here's the 2-on-1 that's broken up at the last second. Carlson, all 6'5" of him, goes down with that long leg and takes that one away. That's the two most dangerous guys in the National Hockey League on a 2-on-1 and denies them.
Well, the Oilers look to break this 6-game losing streak. They're off to a good start. Up 3 after 20. Carolyn Cameron, Sam Cosentino, Justin Bourne waiting on deck with Hockey Central.
Have to do and how we have to dig in. But instead of doing it late in the game, let's try and do it a little bit earlier and try and put that forward and give ourselves a chance. Well, tonight, they've done that early on. There were a couple 2-on-1s, I believe. And I agree with Bob Stauffer that Stuart Skinner had to make a couple great saves early on, but that's what you want your goaltender to do. But after that, Edmonton's really pushed the issue with 2 power play goals and a really timely goal by Derek Ryan.
Draisaitl a shot off the rush to begin the second period of play. A save made by Merzlikins, and now Columbus will go on the counter. They're offside. We'll have to tag back up. Duncan Keith whistles a pass intended for Draisaitl. Picked off and brought the other way. Bjorkstrand. And that was tipped into the waiting arms of Stuart Skinner.
Well, a lot of discussion, too, in the last few days, especially in this 6-game losing streak for Edmonton. It's about the numbers and stats. When you look at it, though, the one thing that Glenn Gulutzan said is the results are lagging a bit. He said that yesterday, and I believe that he was right in that sense. When you look at the numbers, though, expected goals better, ozone possession time better, and scoring chances better, considerably better. Yes, the rush chances, they're behind in those, but when you're chasing the game, you give up those opportunities that you wouldn't normally give up. And an area certainly they have to get better at. But you look at the numbers, the game was coming, and that's what Glenn Gulutzan was referring to. And now it's about getting the results.
McDavid snatches the clearing effort from Merzlikins, and a quick shot wired on net by Jesse Puljujärvi. Still looking for that first NHL hat trick.
And, just because you have the lead doesn't mean you sit back and just try and sit on it. We saw what happened with the Columbus Bluejackets a couple nights ago in Vancouver when they did that. They lost 4-3 after being up 3-0 in the first period. And for Edmonton, already a couple chances early in this second period. They come out, they establish the forecheck possession in the ozone. And that one there didn't miss by much on the short side by Puljujärvi.
You run them out of the building if you can. Fogle, the nurse, a shot, and that missed high glove. Big hop off the plexi. And it's Connor McDavid. Carrying behind that, stuff at short side. McDavid and Draisaitl each with power play assists, lifting them to 46 points, tied with Alex Ovechkin for the league lead. Here's a shot off the rush. Robinson and a save. Skinner. And again, he's been as poised as can be on those rush chances for Columbus.
And Barrett Robinson with 2 goals a couple nights ago against the Canucks in the first period and really showed his speed. But one blast there, he beat Quinn Hughes. There's no slouch skating forward as a defenseman down the ice, and maybe a goal that Halak wanted to have back. But it's a big guy with speed and really created that chance right there with a couple good steps to separate himself.
Peake tried to center. That was deflected. There used to be another big guy with speed in Edmonton wearing the number 29.
That's a flow going, too, I think.
You did. All jean jacketed up. You were prime. Cindy didn't stand a chance. Sent in deep by Jake Voracek. Here's Roslovic. Steal down low by Max Domi. Tried to center, and that was picked off. Intended for Werenski by Cassidy, who's made a couple of good defensive plays tonight. Perlini had his shot deflected inadvertently toward the net by Domi, who pokes free for Roslovic. Then back to Max Domi. Loads and tried a shot that was deflected. Trickled behind. Keith won that battle. Did not clear. Jake Bean. One-time Calgary hitman. Domi in front. Now shot blocked by Sevier as he stifles Chinakhov. Oilers eventually able to pick up a loose puck in the high slot. Tossed by Turris, and now Benson streaking in. Centering pass broken up at the last moment by Werenski. Sevier looking for Benson. Hungry for that first NHL goal. Tried to give it to Turris. Intercepted and carried forth by Werenski. They'll shoot it in. Werenski had 20 goals a couple years ago before the pause. Benson engaged. Forced down low by Sillinger. Oh, big hit on Benson from behind. Ceci able to wheel. Punched by Turris up to Sevier. And it's shot in, though knocked down by Bayreuther. He misses on his long offering. Won't be icing. And regained. Nurse breaks in. Nugent Hopkins. Curls to Draisaitl. Behind the net, tried to center, deflected up in the air. Hacked away from Bjorkstrand by Nugent Hopkins. Draisaitl. 4 Oilers up top. Winds it around. Nugent Hopkins regains. Gavrikov. Nurse fired it. Versleekins made the save. Ahead to Texier with Bouchard back. Texier cuts to the inside and draws the penalty on Evan Bouchard.
Very similar to a couple nights ago for Texier. Made a couple great plays on 2 of the goals. Didn't have an assist on the third one in the first period against Vancouver. But plays like this, really strong on the puck and will challenge you one-on-one. Bouchard gets that stick in the skates, takes him down. And another power play for the Columbus Blue Jackets after an extended period of time in the offensive zone for Edmonton. Columbus will get another opportunity with the man advantage.
Boone Jenner, captain for the Jackets, prepares to dig in against Derek Ryan. He'll be joined by Sevier, Keith, and Ceci. Columbus, as we talked about during this 2-6-1 run they're on, struggling on special teams, and again, leaking goals. Versleekins has not been in sharp. He's given up 3 already tonight. Jackets trying to change the flow of this game. Sevier keeps Columbus bottled up to start. Werenski with a reset. Shimmies his way through the middle. Dishes off to Jenner. Yamamoto anticipates. Lunges can't clear. Voracek. Just 1 goal all season. Pile of assists. Chinakhov will get it back from Werenski. Snap it to Voracek. Shot blocked by Keith. Werenski. Chinakhov. Try to go inside. Firing Bjorkstrand. That one off the left pad of Skinner. Voracek, shot handled. Again, Skinner, square to the shooter. Side of the net. Bjorkstrand couldn't sneak it through. Voracek felt like it hit the netting. Columbus doesn't get the call. Juggled by Werenski up top. Under pressure. One-timer Voracek, and then is stopped by Skinner as Nugent Hopkins got a piece on its way. And a hard rim, I believe, caught a member of the Jackets on the bench. That's going to be a break for Columbus.
Because the face-off, the puck didn't go down the ice. Right. A couple great chances. Oliver Bjorkstrand has always been a sniper for the Portland Winterhawks in the WHL. And Stuart Skinner, the Lethbridge Hurricanes, they've seen each other before. And that spinorama, he gets it away in a hurry, just kind of resets and rips it far side. Skinner was ready for it and fights it off with the left pad. He's seen that before. 60 goals for Bjorkstrand in his last season in the WHL, and he's carried that over and leads this team in scoring this year.
53 the year prior. I mean, he just scored them in bunches.
Sniper. Great shot, great accuracy.
Cole Sillinger beaten off the draw. Centering pass from Sevier off the mark. And I should mention, Janice Mosley just called up to Arizona, so that's another 2021 draft pick currently in the NHL, drafted 60th overall. One of our friends from Kingston, Ontario, kind enough to point that out to us. Here's Nyquist. Curls back. Jake Bean against Derek Ryan. Bean. Domi. Backing off. Bean. Gets it back. One-timer. Blocked. I think that might have caromed off Nyquist. And Edmonton has killed it off. Jackets are 0 for 3, and now Ryan is stealing 2-on-1 with Sevier. Ryan building speed. Dropped it off Sevier. Looking for a teammate. Keith calling for it. Instead, it's McDavid. Back in front. What a play. Just smooth play by Bayreuther. Up through center, and a hard hit by Puljujarvi shook it free from Sillinger. McDavid. One touch over to Puljujarvi. Wired one off a blocker of Merzlikins. 7 minutes gone here in the second period. Edmonton has maintained its 3-0 lead. Jackets have evened up the shot clock. But Edmonton still in front. McDavid circling, centering, and Puljujarvi had one that stopped by Merzlikins and sailed out of play. 12:40 to go in the second. Yes, the Puljujarvi looking for his first NHL hat trick.
Pleasure we saw between Warren Foegele and Max Domi. Max Domi tries to take that puck and make a move, and for Foegele, he just comes through. He braces himself for a hit. Domi kind of goes up and over. Was a little shaken up on the play. Didn't like it. Had some words from the official going back to the bench. Thought there should have been a penalty on the play. But for Warren Foegele, elevated up onto the top line with McDavid and Puljujarvi because of the injury to Zach Hyman. And for me, he's done a nice job in there, filling in. Big body, putting himself in front. And another guy that has been really sniffing around that net to look to get on the board.
Hasn't scored in his last 20, and you know, McDavid will be looking for him as this game moves along. He certainly tried to set up Puljujarvi on more than one occasion for the latter's first hat trick. Boone Jenner breaks away. There's still the matter of winning, and it's 3-0, and there's still 32 minutes left. So, bigger fish to fry for now. McDavid and Puljujarvi control along the boards. Fed to Nurse. Faked the slapper and then threw it around. Bjorkstrand trying to guide it out. Puljujarvi draped all over him. Jenner will kick it back. Peak hits the Jackets captain. Drop pass. Peak rifled one wide. Texier could not control, and Edmonton with numbers coming the other way. Maybe a 4-on-2. Draisaitl to Nurse and did not thread it through. Peak went down to block it. Yamamoto. Draisaitl. Nurse gives it right back to him. Cross-ice delivery, tipped, Yamamoto. Jenner challenges. Nurse put it behind. And now Draisaitl. Nugent Hopkins left it in his feet. Bean trying to force that loose, and he does. Here's a clear from P. Lagesson holding his position as Bjorkstrand feathers it in.
I was really impressed with Stuart Skinner's stick handling ability.
Just going to say.
Nice little knockdown there. Control pass to the D. Because he has the best in the business and Mike Smith to watch on a daily basis when he's healthy.
Sense of calm from his game tonight, don't you think?
Absolutely. Really settled in, made a couple quick saves. And, you get those 2 quick saves early that when you think about it, the Werenski one for me most likely should have been in the back of the net. You gain a little confidence, you gain some traction, and he's looked like he's settled right into the game.
That stop on Roslovic with Werenski busting down the seam was also impressive.
Well, Max Domi with real patient play to wait for that opportunity to present itself. Makes it a tough save.
Here's Benson trying to center. That was picked off and well handled by Corrales. They'll jam it off the boards. Robinson unable to catch up to it. Tried to jam it back in front. And Keith found it open for Tyler Benson to lay it off for Sevier. Midway point of the hockey game. Edmonton has not lost 7 in a row in 12 years. That's in regulation. And Turris inadvertently collided with Merzlikins. The net dislodged from its boards. No harm, no foul in the estimation of the officials, and they get the net replaced. Or did they?
Once possession for Edmonton, net off the rearings.
Yeah, they're going to bring it back.
Or moorings, that is. And smart play. Merzlikins says, you know what, I'll just leave this off, let our team go down and maybe get an opportunity. And then they'll come back and fix that one.
And the crowd revived by Edmonton having a lead. It's got the wave going.
And here's that collision right here. Yeah, getting something going here at Rogers Place as Turris tries to get through. He gets tangled up in the stick and takes that net off the moorings. No worse for wear. Edmonton's still up.
Said Stuart Skinner with a handle on what's going on this evening. The Edmonton Oilers, remember, it wasn't that long ago he was collecting jerseys when he was a fan of the Oilers as a kid growing up in Edmonton. Milan Lucic, Wayne Gretzky, former Oilers, current Oilers. A print from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and maybe his favorite, a jersey of former Edmonton Oiler goaltender Tommy Salo. And now it's Skinner who is salivating at the opportunity to start for his hometown team.
Gene's not afraid to reach if he needs to. Face-off win for McDavid against Roslovic, and Nurse and Bouchard lead the rush up ice. Puljujarvi, wrist shot easily caught.
Through every challenge you face, we help you return and rebuild, because that's what it means to build confidence together.
Elvis Merzlikins tragically lost his goaltender in training, I guess you could say. Matisse Kivlenix, due to a fireworks incident, July 4th. Kind of dedicated his season to him. Bursting in is Boone Jenner. Over to Werenski. Jenner inside to Texier. Jenner kept it alive, swatting it back, and from the point, a shot tipped over the net by Bjorkstrand. Threw it in front, only to see McDavid take it away. Puljujarvi looked up ice and found McDavid. Play is onside. McDavid's in and denied. What a play by Connor McDavid as he crashes into the net. Little shaken up, but I think he's okay. And it's going to be a hold whistled against Columbus. And as McDavid gingerly gets back up, well, thousands of Edmontonians can take a collective sigh of relief.
Sigh of relief right there. What a pass by Puljujarvi. He kind of bumbled it for a second, then he just zipped it to McDavid. Great pickup, one-handed by McDavid. Brings it to the forehand, and boy, does this ever remind you back and flash back to Connor McDavid's rookie year after missing a lengthy time with a broken collarbone. This is his first game back, and he walks around and has an amazing goal against the Columbus Bluejackets.
Nugent-Hopkins. Puljujarvi inside to Draisaitl and played up. And Columbus has something brewing. 2-on-2 short-handed. Sean Corrales a shot deflected away by Barrie, and now 3-on-2 the other way for Edmonton. Draisaitl. Puljujarvi snapped it on net. The glove save made Merzlikins.
Heavy shot by Puljujarvi on that release. Obviously has a shooting mentality. A nice little job on the entry here. Draisaitl, a little drop pass for Puljujarvi. Just tries to use the screen of Gavrikov there, his fifth shot of the night. for Puljujarvi. Obviously 2 goals, 46 seconds apart in the first period of the power play for the Bison King.
That quick release, Louis, is heavy, and it can catch goaltenders by surprise. Whereas Lincoln's kind of caught that behind him, pulled it off his hip.
Wasn't an easy save.
McDavid inside, has it stolen by Jenner. Chipped it ahead, Texier. Highly skilled against Barry, who ties him up. That was well played, and now McDavid to Draisaitl. Nugent-Hopkins rolling behind the net. Draisaitl. Fake shot from Barry. Draisaitl. McDavid inside. Jams away. And covered eventually by Merzlikins.
Good movement for the Columbus Blue Jackets, sprawling all over the ice, trying to take every opportunity and shot away. And you'll watch this puck movement here for McDavid. Tries to walk around the sprawling Gavrikov, who's not a little guy. And he gets it down, but talk about stick handle in the phone booth. That was a great little poke check by Merzlikins, as you mentioned. He just gets that paddle out there and disrupts McDavid. Otherwise, he's going to walk right out and try and jam that anywhere he wants to. Up, down, 5-hole. He would have had a lot of options. Heads up play by Merzlikins.
McDavid wired one right off the blocker, off the draw. Well, this is a must-kill for Columbus. I mean, chances for a comeback, not realistic if you go down 4 with 28 minutes left. Here's Nurse. Starting the rush, still a healthy 50 seconds on the power play. McDavid quarterbacking. Nugent-Hopkins kept it onside. Nurse. Draisaitl. Cuts in. Keeps it on his stick and drops for Nurse. McDavid. Back to Nurse. Nugent-Hopkins. McDavid. Shot. Stop. Merzlikins. Rebound. Puljujarvi. Punished by Gavrikov. Draisaitl had it stripped by Corrali. And Columbus will break out.
That pass not quite in the wheelhouse for Connor McDavid, who's really worked on that one-timer this year, but he gets a good shot away. And Puljujarvi right in front has another chop at a rebound.
Nugent-Hopkins works his way in, turns it over, and a clear by Bayreuther, and that'll do it for the Edmonton power play. Oilers 2 for 4 tonight. And the one abbreviated chance was about 16 seconds. Steal by Bjorkstrand inside Texier. And again, it was a power play that had dried up, so important to get that going. 5-on-3 and a 5-on-4 early on. Nurse cleared ahead for Cassian. And the Oilers skating 5-on-5 have Kyle Turris looking for Fogle. That was jammed the other way by Bayreuther, and now Bjorkstrand. Change of pace. Shot off the outside of the post. And the rebound cleared by Turks. Werenski across. Down the middle, intended for Jenner. Picked off by Keith. Quickly transitioned to Fogle. Tried to get around his man and drew an interference call against Jake Mean. Just came out of the box. He'll go right back in.
Great move in the feet there by Warren Fogle. And here's a couple chances for McDavid. Right off the face-off, tries to go blocker. High on Merzlikins. That one fended off. And then this one here, again, he's waiting for this one. Not quite the one-timer, but he's setting himself up in that position quite often. And then Bjorkstrand from a sharp angle goes post, and here's Fogle. Keep the feet moving, put the puck between the legs, gets taken down, draws the 2. And Jake Bean will head to the box for that interference call.
Well, you said it earlier. When you get elevated, you got to play in straight lines. And Warren Fogle has done that. Do the same things that make you effective as a third-line player in the top 6. And now he'll take a seat as the league's best power play at 31% coming in, looks for its 3rd goal of the night.
And for me, this is where you want to see the killer instinct of the power play of Edmonton come out. It's been lagging a little bit as of late. They had 2 in the first period. Go to work.
When you've dropped 6 in a row, you can't afford to not put it away. Draisaitl for Barry. Don't give Columbus a reason to hang around. Nugent-Hopkins. Barry. McDavid. Barry fired, deflected, loose. And Merzlikins couldn't get across, but at the last moment, Robinson tied up Nugent-Hopkins and then made a nice play to reverse over to Gavrikov. He, in many ways, has been Columbus's best player again tonight. Eric Robinson,
really solid. That was a great play on the penalty kill.
Barry to Draisaitl, cutting down the middle, stripped, and Texier wastes no time in spinning and clearing.
And I like that shot mentality off the the first setup there on the power play for Edmonton, too. You move that puck around, you allow a penalty-killing unit to kind of stabilize. But that shot by Barrie, that was up there for grabs on the rebound.
McDavid drives in right-hand side. Puljujarvi drops to Draisaitl. McDavid. Barrie. Nugent Hopkins will back off. Right now a three-way tie atop the NHL scoring race. Ovechkin, McDavid, Draisaitl. Nugent Hopkins slid it across. McDavid able to recover. Toss down low. Puljujarvi. Nugent Hopkins catches up to it. Barrie to Draisaitl. In front, deflected off the blocker. I'm not sure Merzlikins saw it, but he made the stop on Puljujarvi. Gus Nyquist heading for the net. Centers, reshot it, and that might have gone off both posts from Alex Texier. How quickly it can turn around. Draisaitl still with time on the power play. Coughed it up. Robinson the steal. He's behind Nurse to the net. A backhand denied. Stuart Skinner, and he'll freeze it. Another timely save to keep Edmonton in control of this hockey game.
Man, another great burst of speed by Eric Robinson. He just really, for a big guy, can get there. This is a beautiful backhand pass. And bar out. You're right, exactly. Then Robinson on the ensuing sequence just drives this one-handed to the net. And a good job not to take a penalty on the backtrack, but excellent penalty killing by the Columbus Blue Jackets. And a couple great saves by Stuart Skinner.
Not Babar, but Barbar.
Babar.
Remember the elephant?
The elephant.
Yeah. My mom mispronounced that elephant for my entire childhood. She called him Baybars. I was made fun of when I got older. Yeah, she did not have the correct pronunciation. Here's Voracek. High slot. I used to argue with my friends about that. Of course, you know me. I always think I'm right, as all only children do. Here's Bouchard. Domi poked it away. Right side for Cassian. And he's able to nudge it back to center. Good sound pickup. Here's Rosselbeck. Gains the line. Tried to twist in front for... Broken up by Ryan. Battling against Domi. Trickles free Rosselbeck. Stolen back by Derek Ryan. Cassian didn't get it out. Bouchard will. Briefly stumbles. Might have been stick check there by Rosselbeck over to Cassian, who fired, denied. Rebound store. Brendan Perlini. There's his first as an Oiler. To go along with an assist earlier in this hockey game, 4-0. Perlini and Ryan off the schneid. And Edmonton in complete command.
Lightning fast release. He just pounced on that loose puck. But watch this move by Evan Bouchard. I think if he goes down here, it's a penalty. But he stays up, he skates, he waits. Perfect pass to Cassian. And that sharp angle shot goes off the chest of Merzlikins, pops right through the slot. Derek Ryan funneling there, takes two Columbus Blue Jackets with him. And for Brendan Perlini, he's had the shooting mentality since he's been recalled from Bakersfield. Had a couple good chances, rang the bar earlier in the game, and this one, he puts home for a 4-0 lead.
First NHL goal for Brendan Perlini since February 9th, 2020. And it's funny, you and I had a conversation with Dave Tippett. He believed he'd be a factor later this season when he was sent down, and he was right.
Well, you go down, you get your confidence, you score a couple goals, and that's exactly what Brendan Perlini did. Played 2 games down in Bakersfield. You get that feeling when the puck goes in the net. I had a little chat with him this morning, and he said, hey, that's how the game goes. Sometimes that's all it takes is a little reset. Has a goal and assist in this one tonight.
Bouchard, the second assist. Cassian, the primary, and the Oilers look for more. Sin off the right shoulder as he was looking for his first in the NHL. Knocked off the stick. Benson's played hard tonight. Controls and kicks it out for Cody Ceci. William Lagesson, also without an NHL goal at this point. Swatted away by Cole Sillinger. Sillinger broke free. And a blast disappears in the midsection of Stuart Skinner. Brendan Perlini, the NHL's goal-scoring leader in the preseason, gets his first in the regular season.
With a goal and assist in this one tonight. And, Jack, we were talking about it. A little bit of a reset down in Bakersfield. Goes down, plays some minutes for Jay Woodcroft. Scores a couple of goals in the one game. Had 5 shots in his second game played. And that just gives you that shooting mentality. He funnels himself to a spot. That's a great read and a beautiful pass by Bouchard to Cassian. That heavy shot goes off the collarbone, pops out due to the drive through from Derek Ryan. And it's off the stick in a flash for Brendan Perlini, finding that scoring touch.
And he missed by an eyelash earlier with a shot that you and I didn't even see it. It hit the post.
And, sometimes you just start to overthink things and you start to grip that stick a little tight and you get away from doing the things that make you successful. He came in the preseason. He had 6 goals, I believe, or was it 7? I don't even know. It was a ton. I know that 6 goals. And you know what? You think to yourself, okay, you get going. But then when you start not producing, you start to thinking about it a little bit too much, and you just get away from doing the things that make you successful. In Brendan Perlini's case, it's shooting the puck. He's always had a great release, always had a nose for the net. And if that's what you have to do, be a volume shooter to be productive, then that's what you do.
Scored twice in his first game down in Bakersfield. Now, with his first game since his recall, Louis, as you said, maybe it's, not thinking about it. He's getting out there and playing. And Edmonton has done that tonight en route to a 4-0 lead.
Easier said than done in some situations.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you that from experience. But you know what? It's the way you have to be. You have to go out there and do what you're good at.
Jenner with a drop pass. 2 power play goals vital, but also 2 goals from the bottom 6 tonight. Absolutely key in kind of breaking this one open. Jenner to Bjorkstrand. Thinking about it, Texier had just hit a post, too. That game could have turned on a dime. Instead, the Oilers back in charge and icing against Puljujarvi.
All dreams start at home. Chase yours in a customized plan by Coventry Homes, the preferred builder of the Edmonton Oilers.
Stuart Skinner awaiting the draw between Roslovic and McDavid. Jack Roslovic, of course, came over the Pierre-Luc Dubois deal. Werenski off to Domi. Interior kick back and a shot. Didn't quite get through. Puljujarvi looked to muscle it out. Great play off the wall. Domi hesitates, fires, saves Skinner. Rebound, another stop. Bouncing puck corralled by Stuart Skinner.
Boy, I'll tell you, talk about robbery on that play by Max Domi, who's been all over it tonight for the Columbus Bluejackets, has had some real good chances, and again, just a real patient play and an aggressive move to the middle. Fakes the shot, walks around Darnell Nurse, who goes down to try and block, and that one's a high one on Skinner. Boom, there's the fake by Domi in tight, and then that chop in front by Voracek goes up and over top, and Stuart Skinner has to somehow find that in the traffic.
Jake Voracek, game number 996. Here's Werenski dropping it off for Domi. Eventually rocketed it goalward, and an easy save for Skinner. Game 9 for that man, Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, he's been poised in this one, has made the saves that he's had to make, and especially early on closed the door, and in this second period has had some sharp angle shots come his way, some deflections with screens in front, and that one there, another high one by Max Domi. He gloves down and says, okay, let's get another face-off, settle things down.
Draisaitl off the draw, puck trickles free. Yamamoto ahead for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And who knows, with Mike Smith getting closer, Louis, with Stuart Skinner, maybe a chance to get a couple more starts in and then get regular work down in Bakersfield. Draisaitl tried to toss left wing for Yamamoto. That was broken up. Carry back Nyquist. Poked away from Sillinger, and now Nugent-Hopkins with 20 seconds to go. Draisaitl through one man, not the second. Chinakhov. Sillinger, and a shot tipped. And what a save by Skinner, splaying out the right pad. He's locked in as that puck climbs out of play.
Huh. Terrific save. That one changed direction. The shot by Nyquist, no question, it's deflected en route to the net right there. Little tap down. And Cole Sillinger with great hands in tight right here, drives through, the little tap, bounces and goes off the right pad of Stuart Skinner. Not an easy one.
Well, I like this Cole Sillinger.
Yeah.
Brad Larson was bang on when he told us this morning this guy isn't going anywhere.
Details of the game. He says he's rock solid. And, we talked to Jody Shelley, as the color for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He said he's a great kid, has a great awareness of when he's playing well and when he's not, which is a real good skill to have for a young 18-year-old, and almost gets his team on the board there.
A 4-0 bulge for Edmonton through 40 minutes of play. Skinner perfect on 23 shots. Ryan and Perlini breaking out of prolonged slumps on the power play with 2. We've got Hockey Central waiting on the other side. Carolyn, Sam, Justin, ready to take it home. News, and Jonas Korpisalo is in the hockey game. Brad Larson had a chat with him after the second period. He's in on the season, 3-4, played to a save percentage of .885. He was victimized by Connor McDavid in McDavid's first game back after the broken clavicle back in that 15-16 campaign. And you caught a look of Elvis Merzlikins, who, as Gene would tell you, has, I suppose, left the ice surface. Lead pass, Swarinski. Texier bottled up. I'm not about to steal Gene's thunder. Here's Derek Ryan swooping in. Sharp angle shot testing Korpisalo early. He makes the save and a strike by Ceci off the plexi. Merzlikins' night done after 40 minutes, stopped 25 of 29. But for the 5th time in his last 6 starts, he gave up at least 4 goals. Here's an icing call against Edmonton.
Century Casino. All in, all games, all season. Century Casino. Great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile Racetrack. Welcome to the Winner's Zone.
It's kind of one of those nights for Merzlikins, too. You look at the 4 goals that Edmonton have scored. 2 power play goals. Really didn't have a chance on those ones. The Ryan goal, shot traffic, jams in a rebound, and the Perlini goal was, again, one of those shots that goes off of them and just funneling pucks to the net with traffic. I don't really think any of them were bad goals.
Domi in front, a shot blocked by Tyson Barrie. I don't think Skinner needed to get a piece of that one. But an opening in the slot. And now Gavrikov, his shot might flip the outside of the post. He tries to maintain the zone. McDavid forked it over to Puljujarvi, and he'll dump it in. Korpisalo sends it around the boards, intercepted by Tyson Barrie. Jonas Korpisalo thought he'd be the heir apparent once Sergei Bobrovsky moved on, but Merzlikins signed to a big ticket in the offseason. Shot by Barrie was blocked. Puljujarvi around the Lagesson and then back to Puljujarvi. Dropped off one more time. Puljujarvi shot off the pad. And then Lagesson had it blocked. He was in tight. McDavid swooping, shooting, and a save made. Korpisalo. And Edmonton dominating Columbus right now, even as Puljujarvi fell down. And that's 8 shots on net for Jesse Puljujarvi tonight.
I'll tell you, some tough saves early on, and for Korpisalo stepping in here for the 3rd period, 2 not easy ones to start things off. And you're right, Puljujarvi all over it once again. And that shot by McDavid, walking around, finding that seam, and testing the blocker.
I was going to say, for a while there, he looked like the Duck in Duck Hunt. Remember that movie? Remember that video game? That poor Duck was just getting shelled. There's Nugent Hopkins. Of course you did. Drop off. Bayreuther, and that's caught cleanly by Skinner.
To give Korpisalo a little credit here, stepping in here, a couple sharp angle shots. This is a great A by Voracek as he takes that puck, tests the blocker, and Stuart Skinner with an excellent save. That one redirected en route to the net. Lagesson looking for his first goal in the National Hockey League. Almost gets it there, not an easy save, and then McDavid with that shot that he walks out, tests the blocker. Korpisalo early on doesn't start easy for him.
Draisaitl able to win the face-off. Nurse peers up ice. Coming up on 3 minutes gone, 3rd period. Edmonton in control, 4-0. Werenski unable to extract. Draisaitl entangled with Corral. Breaks free. Swung it back to Ceci. Robinson was there to pick that one off. Draisaitl eventually got it back to him a second effort. Corrali in his grill, so gives way to Nugent Hopkins. Draisaitl up top. And that knuckle puck elbowed aside by Korpisalo. And the Jackets able to gain possession. Korpisalo now in his 7th year. Won a Calder Cup way back when the team in Cleveland was called the Lake Erie Monsters. Now they're Cleveland. Texier will kick it back. Team was coached by our good friend Jared Bednar up the left-hand side. Now, of course, head coach of the Colorado Avalanche. Steered up. Benson to Barry. Dumps it behind. Sevier now. Turris tried to give it back to him. Eventually got it to him. Angled off. Lagesson. Turris whistled one up high. Barry has it carved off his stick and cleared by Carlson ahead. Bjorkstrand. Now Boone Jenner. Lagesson stayed with him. Forced him to give it up to Texier. And now a dry Bayreuther smothered by Skinner. Bjorkstrand wrestling match with Tyler Benson. We've seen that whenever Benson's been in. Lagesson joining the fray. We saw him fight Josh Anderson this year.
Took on the heavyweight for the Montreal Canadiens, and Bjorkstrand and Tyler Benson, two guys that obviously would have saw each other in the WHL days. Little scrum afterwards, and you're right. Tyler Benson always seems to be in the thick of things, especially in front of both nets, cross-checking away, making sure he's protecting his goaltender. And they come together. No penalties on the play. Just allow them to sort that out. A couple face washes. Go to the benches.
Digging in will be Derek Ryan against Jack Roslovic. Did you see Hunter take roping up an entire section on the railway? I wonder if our guys got a shot of that. That was pretty impressive. I was trying to get your attention. I mean, I am enthralled by the face-off, but that was a heck of footwork by Hunter.
He is a lynx.
Well, that's true. He should be agile. Here's Ryan walking in. Kicked aside by Korpisalo. Rebound. Perlini. You make a good point. As usual, I'm outdone by my analyst. Here's Werenski. Derek Ryan. Cassian tried to chip it back, taken away by Jake Voracek. Through the neutral zone, Max Domi. Back to Voracek. Boots behind, then tried to center, and that was denied. Came right back to him. Werenski will snap it around, out of the reach, however, of Roslovic, and cleared casually by Cassian inside the Columbus line. Played 5.5 here in the third. McDavid comes up with a steal at center. Oilers hop on a plane tomorrow. They'll take on Seattle on Hockey Night in Canada Saturday. McDavid. Spinning. Dealing. Shot Bouchard high. Off glass in front. Poke checked away, and Fogle just couldn't get that backhander upstairs. Danforth. Cut off by Nurse, who reeled him in so easily, and now McDavid breaks in. Gavrikov all over him. Going to muscle it free to Fogle, and Robinson will bring it the other way. Danforth a shot, and that's swallowed up by Skinner. We've played more than 6 here in the third. Oilers have thrown it into cruise control 4-0 as Fogle denied on the doorstep.
Is between the pipes and also his ability to play the puck, and it makes such a difference when you've got a goaltender that can go back there, knock down a puck. You'll see the defense will flare to each corner. Really difficult for the Columbus Blue Jackets to establish a real clean forecheck. You don't know where to go. Which way is he going to go? Well, he becomes a third defenseman. And, you know, we've talked about Mike Smith at length over the years of how good he is at playing the puck, the best in the National Hockey League. No question, his protege has picked up some pointers and looks pretty darn good at doing it himself.
Cody Ceci, guilty of an icing.
And it just does change the whole element of trying to get in and be an aggressive team. And when you have a goaltender that comes out, plays that puck, he can move it anywhere he wants to. You almost saw the forwards for Columbus coming in and not really knowing where to go. And it's an easy, clean break out of the zone. And as we've talked about so often, you come out of your zone cleanly, it leads to a lot more chances in the offensive zone.
Sillinger pulls the draw back for Werenski. Shot, handcuffed, and then flipped home by Gus Nyquist, and Stuart Skinner's bid for his first NHL shutout is over. Gus Nyquist, the veteran, with his fifth to cut it to 4-1.
Yeah, you know what? Simplified attack, but that puck definitely changed direction coming into Stuart Skinner. And you look at this face-off, just a nice job to kick it back by Cole Sillinger. And I think he gets a piece of it en route to the net, knocks it down, and that's why Stuart Skinner couldn't handle it, goes off the shoulder, and follow the bouncing puck. Just a good job by Nyquist. Watch this wrister from the blue line, right there, tipped. And quick hands, and Nyquist comes in and jams it home on the backhand side to deny Skinner, as you mentioned, of the shutout.
Bean and Sillinger with the helpers on Nyquist's fifth at 6:28. And Nyquist, a guy drafted by Ken Holland, the GM for the Oilers. Here's Puljujarvi. Shot McDavid pushed wide. So this one not quite put to rest here. 4-1 with a little more than 13 minutes left. Sent in deep. Texier. Bjorkstrand. Wrist shot, and that was deflected up and out of play.
A little life into the Columbus Blue Jackets here in this third period with still over 13 minutes left. And Bjorkstrand once again trying to use the screen and gets that shot away. You could see his head was up, but it hits Darnell Nurse, goes up over top of the glass. Good positioning by Nurse on that play. But when you have a shooter like Bjorkstrand, he's always looking to use that defender as a screen, pick a side. It's a game of inches.
Skinner, in his last start for Bakersfield, a pitch he shut out. McDavid off the rush, a shot, tried to squeeze it 5-hole, and a save made by Korpisalo. Well, we don't have Hunter, but we have a guy almost as good, certainly as fuzzy, Gene Principe.
Well, I'm Italian. Time to play the largest game day 50-50 out there. When you buy your Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation 50-50 ticket, you help make Oil Country a better place. The pot is currently at $307,280. Buy now at EdmontonOilers.com.
Wrist shot right off the draw from Perlini. And as you were mentioning between periods, Louis, Perlini's averaging a shot a minute played.
He is. Through the first 4 minutes, he had 5 shots, and there's a sixth.
Cassian to Tyson Barrie. Round the boards, Derek Ryan on his back end. Cassian wrapped up. Ryan looking, flipped in front. Perlini turns and fired, and that was towed aside by Korpisalo, who's come on and played very well. As you mentioned, giving Columbus a little life with 8 tough saves thus far in this third period.
I agree. Haven't been easy saves at all. And, when you look at it, Edmonton should probably have a goal or two in some of those chances.
Robinson just missed a cutting Danforth, and here comes Sevier the other way, knifing it in deep. Playing center tonight with Benson and Turris. Again, Turris, like Sevier, is a bit of a utility guy in the fact that he has a lot of experience at center himself. Voracek breaks through 2 Oilers, tripped up from behind, no penalty was called, much to Voracek's disgust. And now the puck sent up ice by Keith. Second tour of duty for Jake Voracek. Offside, Tyler Benson, right wing.
Well, here's another great chance by Brendan Perlini. Nice little play here. Cassian tries to put it through to Derek Ryan, and he stays with it. A second effort, jams it right out into the slot, and the spinning shot by Perlini fended off, and Voracek right there. Nice little outside-inside move on Duncan Keith. He thought he was tripped up a little bit coming back to the middle. Voracek's had some good chances in this one tonight.
He's had an underrated career.
Yep. Unbelievable. It's amazing when you look at it. Started off as a Columbus Blue Jacket, back for his second stint after 10 years in Philly.
Drysdale, a little give and go with Darnell Nurse. Hit the back door, and he missed Yamamoto. And you know Drysdale's trying to get his line mate Yamamoto going. Loves playing with. Out to Nurse. Back to Drysdale. Forced to back off. Yamamoto under duress from Bayreuther. Flicked by Drysdale toward Nugent Hopkins, who corrals. Button hooks. Waits for the play to develop and then finds Drysdale. A one-timer ripped on net by Bouchard and a save for Corpusalo. Punched free and cleared by Chinakhov. Left ahead by Nyquist. Smacked down by Nugent Hopkins. Here's Drysdale with the Yamamoto busting network. Spun to Nurse, sharp angle. Caught the outside of the goal. Now Warren Fogle. Saucered across to Tyson Barrie with 10.5 to go. Nurse backing off. Oilers a 3-goal lead. Puljujarvi down the slot. And he got it up on the heel of his stick and shot it wide and high. Sillinger. And didn't know where to go. Lagesson just stayed in his lane. And Sillinger coughed it up. Puljujarvi out to McDavid and hoisted behind the Columbus defense. Fogle trying to chisel it free from Texier. Won the battle. McDavid. Werenski wallpapers in. Puljujarvi through a seam. Quick shot, Fogle, and that's smothered by Jonas Korpisalo, who has been peppered. He's kept the Oilers off the board, but the Santas among the faithful happy about the scoreboard.
Tonight, 8 shots, 10 attempts, 2 goals. Had 2 goals in his previous 16 games, and you look at it, he's been around it, he's been getting opportunities, and again, just a little snake bitten, but 2 power play goals 46 seconds apart, and he's had ample opportunities to finish off the hat trick. Again, just getting that puck to the net, having a shooting mentality, that wicked wrister. This one here off the power play was a great opportunity in the second period on that shot pass by Draisaitl. But the Bison King has been all over this one tonight.
And I think equally important, the secondary scoring they've gotten from guys like Derek Ryan, who hadn't scored since Game 2, and Perlini, who hadn't scored all year. Healthier outlook for some of the other members of the roster. And now, can this man break out? Warren Fogle. Stolen by Corrali, but offside, Columbus.
You bring up a good point, too, and Leon Draisaitl was pretty candid this morning talking about the fact that, listen, even the best players lose their confidence, and you have to get it back on track, and you need to have some production from different people to take some of that pressure off the top players. And you look tonight what they've done, a lot of shots, 15 combined between Puljujarvi and Perlini. Each has a goal, Puljujarvi with 2, and Derek Ryan, one of his best games in a long time, and just showing that he has some energy. He talked with Gene Principe between the periods and said, listen, I was feeling it. There was frustration, trying to get back on the board, and you grip the stick a little tight, but that third line, a little revamp with the injury to Zach Hyman, you see Perlini slipping into that position that Fogle was in, and they've had some success tonight.
I also thought Draisaitl was inclusive when it came to the club struggles. He said, look, Connor and I aren't feeling great now either.
Yep.
He goes, I've got 2 goals in my last 5 games. That's it. McDavid 3 assists in his last 5. He said, as a team, you lose just like when things are going well and you're 16-5.
I also like the fact that he said, you pump each other's tires. You try and make it so that you're not really focusing on yourself. You try and bring the best out in others, and they'll try and bring the best out in you. And when you've lost 6 in a row, it's just about putting those things to work and getting off the schneid, and there seems to be a little extra jump in the stride tonight for Edmonton.
Kassian moves in with Ceci now. Duncan Keith, as we come up on 8 minutes to play in this third period. Job not completed for Edmonton to win its first game since the first day of December. Just 2 weeks ago, the Oilers had the best record in the league. Entering tonight, holding the last playoff spot in the Western Conference. Shot sent wide by Sillinger. Doubled up by Ryan. Backhanded over to Keith. He'll spin away from traffic and find Kassian for a clear through the middle of the ice. Picked up and moving with alacrity is Bjorkstrand. Tried to center, that was stuffed by Keith, and Nugent Hopkins with a soft lob down the middle. That'll be reeled in by Gavrikov. Texier had it bumped off his stick by Nugent Hopkins. Turning it over was Peak. Regaining was Jenner. Slid in by Texier, trying to create space for Bjorkstrand. Lagesson closes the gap quickly and receives a short pass from Draisaitl, as does Nugent Hopkins, and Edmonton will bust out. Draisaitl pulls up. Cross ice, partially tipped, and now the Jackets have an on-man rush coming the other way. Bjorkstrand to Jenner. Ducks inside. Hits the trailer. Werenski fired. Glove save. Skinner in the rebound. Collected by Draisaitl. And with poise, he'll toss it high in the air. And Bean will grab it.
That was a wicked wrister by Werenski. As you mentioned earlier, 20 goals a couple of years ago. He can really shoot it.
Danforth is able to kick it free toward the Edmonton goal. Skinner wastes no time at putting it on the tape of Bouchard. And again, it's not a rush. It's not a bobble. There's never any sense that you're in danger with Skinner tonight. Here's Robinson. Up the middle, Werenski. Columbus trying to change them. Werenski angles toward the Oiler goal. Sifted back to Robinson. They'll put it in the corner. Bouchard won a battle. Stripped from behind by Corrali. Bean shot blocked by Sevier. And the Oilers able to bring it out. Turris and Benson providing the measures. And it's a flip by Benson that chases Columbus's Bean back. Roslovic ducks around a hit from CC around the boards. You've got Warren Fogle ahead for McDavid. Right through, heading to the net. Puljujarvi pushed it wide off a brilliant setup. And a sublime move around Peak by McDavid.
He absolutely blew around him. That's maybe your worst nightmare as a defenseman, seeing McDavid catch that puck with full steam in the neutral zone. One move, that's all it took. He was gone.
Shot in by CC. McDavid has set Puljujarvi up 3 times. And to this point, that hat trick remains elusive. Roslovic the other way. Gets it back. Tried to center. Decent feed in front from Chinakhov, but the play not finished. Nyquist out to the point. Bayreuther over to Werenski. His shot caught and squeezed by Skinner.
Well, Edmonton looking for more, and Connor McDavid tonight a couple of times has got that speed down the stretch. What a pass over to Puljujarvi for the hat trick, and just couldn't finish it off.
Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network.
Well, it's going to be Brendan Perlini's first goals in Edmonton Oiler. And listen, go down, play a couple games down the American Hockey League, and zam, there's the great release in the high slot. Beautiful pass by Bouchard. The shot off the collarbone by Cassian. And for Brendan Perlini, he pounced on that one and finished it off. Just a real nice release. That made it 4-0 at that time in the second period. The Columbus Blue Jackets have one on the board to make it 4-1 with 5:01 left on the clock.
Did you just mix in a zam?
A zam. I like zinger, too.
Well, zinger I've heard. I haven't heard zam. But I liked your use of it. It was a solid deployment by you. Here's Ryan. Digging in on Jenner, who won the faceoff for Columbus, ripped toward the net, and another save for Skinner.
Winter in Jasper. Venture beyond.
34 saves for Stuart Skinner and a 4-1 Oiler lead. Less than 5 on the clock. But when you've lost 6 in a row, this is going to feel like 15 minutes. Columbus with one last push here. Been a lot of high-quality chances here in the third. Werenski did well to keep it in, but that was rammed off the glass and out by Bouchard. Did he put too much on it? No. Rolls dead at the goal line, and Columbus has to play it. Werenski does, with a pass into the feet of Jenner. Nurse well positioned. Jake Bean moving across, shooting, and that stayed out, caught the post. But Skinner gets a friendly bounce. And Oiler partisans would tell you he's earned it tonight with the way he's played.
That was a good release by Jake Bean. He's always had that, just an eye to put a puck to the net at the right time. A lot of traffic in front of Skinner on that one.
Jenner shoots it in. Puck on edge. Grabbed by Pete. Run off by Draisaitl. Peak feeling pressure where there was none for a moment. Yamamoto disruptive, but now Danforth breaks loose. Keith is back. Putting the brakes on Danforth. He'll cycle it for Corrali as we go inside 4. One-timer Danforth, and that rocketed high and wide. Off the window to Yamamoto. Robinson all over him. Corrali tried to center. Jackets' youngest team in the league keep coming in waves. Yamamoto frustrated by a poke check from Gavrikov. And here's Corrali on the counter. Waiting for a trailer. Werenski holds the zone, cuts inside. Wrist shot, save, rebound, score! Danforth able to shovel it home, and the Jackets still have life at 4-2.
Playing with a little bit of fire here, Edmonton, is Danforth. We talked about him scoring goals in 2 different leagues over the last 2 years. In Finland and the KHL, always had nose around the net. There's the post by Jake Bean, the wrister through the traffic, and then Werenski with a nice move here through 2 Oilers to get that to the middle. And watch how he releases this out in front of his body. Not a whole lot of back take on that shot, and just a nice finish in front. And for Danforth, just good hands around the net. He finishes it in the backhand side.
Second NHL goal of his career. He won gold at the World Championships this past summer for Team Canada. Guy who worked his way up from the ECHL. And, you know, we told you, Louie, when you drop 6 in a row, nothing comes easy. Nope. Columbus is making Edmonton work, and there's still 3 and change to play.
Just a little bit sloppy coming to the neutral zone, looking for a little much. You know, you talk about that Yamamoto with the poke check. It sets it going the other way, but plays like that. Get a puck in behind, try and kill the clock, finish that off in the offensive zone. Don't give a team life. And now Korpisalo heading to the bench.
Extra man on. Wrist shot off the rush, deflected. Werenski after it. Able to keep it in against Puljujarvi. Centers Texier for a check from the point. That was booted wide by Bouchard. And now Puljujarvi with the empty, unable to lift it out at first, and then finds a wide open Warren Foegele. He'll tap it home, and he's off the schneid. A wry grin as he celebrates his first goal in 21 games, and the Oilers finally put the Jackets away.
Well, you know, icing on the cake a little bit for the Edmonton Oilers. A couple guys getting off some schneids. First goal for Perlini. Derek Ryan hasn't scored in a long time. And same thing with Warren Foegele. Great play by Puljujarvi just to stay with this. Knocks it down with the body and just kind of jams it into the middle. Foegele has to fight off the check to get to it and put it in right there. Good defensive play. The diving play to get it up to Foegele on the stride and one-handedly taps it as Werenski tracked them all the way back. So a bonus for Foegele, and I like that, putting him out there in that situation. You still have a 2-goal lead. It's an open net. You know he's going to battle on each line, and he finishes it off and gets off the schneid himself.
Again, the experienced coaching staff, Playfair and Glenn Gulletson, both former NHL head coaches. They know they need Foegele along for the ride. And Puljujarvi with a brilliant feed.
There's an opportunity for him to step into a position, be a sound player defensively too, and get rewarded.
First goal since October the 30th. Sillinger will give it up. Puljujarvi a 3-point night with the 2 power play goals as well. And that was blistered wide by Chinakhov and cleared by Cassian inside the Columbus blue. Peak allowing the Jackets to complete a line change. Their game with Calgary scheduled for Saturday has been postponed. Icing.
Make MIC your choice. A proud partner and the official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, this is going to be 5 in a row head-to-head for Edmonton over Columbus. And Warren Foegele saw him kind of shake his head with a rueful smile. But you know what? It is a bit of a wait. Sevier.
And take it.
Absolutely.
How it goes in the net. You see it go in the net, it's a good feeling.
Sevier won it back to Cody Ceci. Centering pass ripped by Turris. Got it back and into the stomach of Korpisalo.
And, you heard Glenn Gulletson and Jim Playfair talking about just that, too. And Dave Tippett, before he came down with the COVID, a lot of the drills they're putting forth for the team have that in mind. Building up the confidence, putting the puck in the net, doing the right things in tight, down low battles, man-on-man, 3-on-3. Just trying to get that mentality of doing the right things on a consistent basis and carrying it forward into the game. And just like Perlini with his first goal as an Edmonton Oiler, and that one there by Warren Foegele, seeing that puck go in the net does a lot of good things for you.
Icing call against Columbus. And again, it was interesting because we asked Dave Tippett point blank, do you see Perlini as eventually having a role when he went down to the American Hockey League? Because in the back of our minds, are we thinking, are we going to see him again? And Dave Tippett said rather convincingly, you'll see him again, and he will make a contribution. And he was bang on.
He's had one in this one tonight with a goal and assist, and Derek Ryan, his first goal in a long time, too. And listen, Jesse Puljujärvi, didn't have a whole lot of goals, had 2 in his previous 17 games.
Right.
So for him to get 2 goals and 2 power play goals at that, all good things. And it's been a long time coming, and obviously I'm sure for the Oilers it's felt like forever.
Well, this is a game where the Oilers have matched their goal total from the last 4, and they've done it with 1 point each from McDavid and Draisaitl. So a team win in every sense of the word. Here's Sevier. Kyle Turris, wide open. Kicked away by Korpisalo on that wrist shot. Minute to go.
He turned into a real good chance for Turris, who can really shoot it. Nice little back pass by Sevier.
Well, remember, he hit the crossbar. We talked about the Draisaitl open net on Tuesday against Toronto. Turris hit the crossbar early in that game.
First shot.
Yeah. Up the gut. Giannikov. And when you're losing games, that's the kind of thing that happens. You don't get those breaks early. Well, the Oilers survived a couple of odd man rushes early tonight, got on the power play, and a few seconds later, all of a sudden enjoyed a 2-goal lead. And as Dave Tippett said, no longer chasing the game. There's to Bouchard, a high flip, and the crowd in unison right now. Ryan Cassian, a shot kicked away by Korpisalo. Second win of the month for the Oilers, and their fans, a raucous ovation as the horn goes, and Stuart Skinner, 36 saves.
Well, made it interesting in the third period with a couple goals by the Columbus Blue Jackets, but never really in doubt as Edmonton was able to finish it off with the open net. Production down the lineup, as you mentioned, Jack, and for Stuart Skinner, another good performance in closing the door. Made some great saves tonight when he had to, and a much-needed win for the Edmonton Oilers after losing 6 in a row to get back in the win column. Some smiling faces for the first time in a while.
And salvage something out of this homestand. And again, the competition was stiff. The goaltending was very good at the other end for a couple of weeks. But Skinner, the stopper tonight for Edmonton in a 5-2 win.
Rogers Oilers Hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Rogers 5G, Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. By Ford, the official automotive partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Ford built Ford proud. And by Molson Canadian, official partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Rep our home.